Welcome to our today webinar with the topic how to monitor and report your robot's performance. Many of you know me, but for the rest, let me introduce myself. My name is Zdeněk Kabátek and I am Head of Professional Services in NEOOPS, and I will be moderating today's webinar. Before we jump to our today agenda, let me just cover house rules and how you can navigate in GoToWebinar platform. So on your screen, you can see a toolbar which can show or hide your settings. With arrow, you can minimize it, and you can use raising hand in case you would like to say something. But all the participants by default are muted. In case you want to ask a question, you can type it in the question section of GoToWebinar application. We will answer questions if we have time. If not, we will collect them and send to all participants in a document after the webinar. The whole session is being recorded and video will be also shared with you through our YouTube channel. We will send the link to all participants. So that would be all for the house rules, and let's go to the agenda. In today's agenda, I will introduce very shortly our speakers, and then we will jump to the topic which definitely resonated in discussions within our client community. We forced to volunteer several of our clients to share their stories so that you can really see how they do it in real life. And we will hear the story of 4 of them. The first one will be Volkswagen Financial Services, then Sberbank Czech Republic, Siemens Global Business Services, and AXA UNIQA. After client stories, we will present 2 potential reporting tools or solutions which we find interesting so that you can see many various options how the performance monitoring and reporting can be addressed. In the last session of today's webinar, I will be talking and sharing with you the latest news coming from Blue Prism, which are related to the November release. And before I pass the stage to our first speaker, let me show you the pictures of our brave presenters because we still cannot meet in person. I will let each of them to introduce themselves, but these are people who are behind the speaker and who are behind the slides which you are going to see. So I am giving the stage now to our first presenter, who is Honza Čech from Volkswagen Financial Services, also known as Skofin. So there will be a short break because I will make Honza presenter. Okay, Honza, we can see your screen, so the stage is yours.
Okay, hello to everyone. I hope you hear me well.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thanks. Sorry, I have some technical difficulties here, but it's not. Okay. No.
If you press page down, Honza,
I can hide. Okay, it's well done. Sorry for the difficulties. It's also the first time I make this platform using for presentation. So again, very sorry. But let's back to presentation. Welcome again on the first today presentation about reporting of RPA business processes. Before I start, let me introduce myself and company. My name is Jan Čech, and I work in Volkswagen Financial Services since 2016. Last 2 years as full-time in RPA as senior developer and process maintenance. Volkswagen Financial Services Czech Republic is member of global business group Volkswagen Financial Services AG, and since 1992 is a leader in financing of retail and fleet cars on Czech market. Our main sales structure join customers, dealers, and concerned automotive brands to provide them products like bank credit, leasing, car insurance, brand service, and other products connected with mobility. The idea of using robotization in our company has appeared for the first time in 2016 and was kicked off by a project driven by NEOOPS. Beginning was, of course, difficult, and there were a lot of obstacles we had to overcome. But we believed that this way is the right one, and the effort made in the beginning will return in the future benefits. And that was definitely true. In average, each following year, we can double our results and benefits in saved FTEs, as you can see in the screen. I can say in 2016 began for our company revolution in implementation of automated and digitalized approaches through the whole company. And RPA technology was one of the tools which strongly support this transformation. Today we use 6 Blue Prism license, 5 for internal processing, and the last one is used for special online process using a web service to provide online sharing information with our automotive brand partner. It's something quite really new for us. On these 5 internal licenses, we operate about 30 RPA processes with total benefit income about 12 FTEs of saved business capabilities. That means 5 RPA licenses save each day in average work of 12 employees. I think it is also a good point to say that actual RPA team has only 3 members. So let's say low costs and effective strategy in this way. One of the topics we had to deal with from the beginning of RPA activities was how to show results of processing to correct people in a correct form. In 4 years history of RPA, we tried several variants of how to report the results. As long as we have up to 10 processes, there was big focus to report each of them separately. So we have individual templates per process. When the number of processes exceeded 10, it was more and more time consuming to create individual reports per process manually. So we invested a lot to create online interactive dashboard to show processing result in real time. It works well, but later has came up processes with so different workflow that processing results could not be correctly present in one fixed dashboard form. When we get over 20 processes, there were so many different types of processes workflows that the dashboard could correctly show less than half of all process in production, and for us was mainly useless. Today, we use 2 approaches how to share information about performance results. In each business work team, using RPA is trained business user with read access to Blue Prism control room. They can find there all specific information in detail about processes that needs. Once a month, I create complex report for management, which contains several levels of detail. I create this report with data exported from Blue Prism database. Next steps of report creation you can see on the screen. I will not describe it in detail because it's very clear. There are some, after querying the data, there is data transformation, some calculations, of course. Everything is done in Excel and prepared templates and functions. At the end, we make some visual sheet where I present the results for the management. It takes me about 3 hours of manual work, but actually it perfectly meets our needs. Let me show you an example of a main report table, which consists all relevant information for us in a level per process. I can shortly describe the table from left to right. At the beginning, we have times. Most important is a net RPA time that shows saved benefits in minutes of one processed item. Next block shows absolute and relative volume statistics, and most important is sum of completed items. In simple terms, when we multiply net RPA times with sum of completed items, we can get total saved man-days work per process. And when this number is divided by number of working days in reported months, we can get average FTE per days per process. That is for us actually the most focused measured statistic. For management, we aggregate values to totals or to groups splitted by departments. The most focused statistics from management are count of active license, count of processes, count of completed items, and of course, average saved FTEs plus visual on trend line. Sometimes when some process goes wrong, they are also interested in the relative count of system exception. To show some example, on the screen you can see a regular report structure for management in Excel sheet. There are 3 levels of detailed information. From the left, the first table shows number per processes. The middle table shows totals in a history comparison of last 2 months. And the right table shows statistics aggregated by departments. On graph is trend line of saved FTE in last 12 months. Of course, we can also create specific report on demand. As you can see, there is no big deal about reporting of RPA results in our approach, but we believe that sometimes the power is in simplicity. That's all from my side. If there are some questions, I'm ready to answer.
Yes, guys, so now is the time to ask the question. I would have one, that is, you know, the reports, how is your reporting stabilized? How do you receive some request to change something in the reports, or is it running for months like you presented, or how is the life cycle of the reporting? Or how long it took to get to the final report structure?
Okay, as I said, we create this main report monthly. That means once per month at the beginning of months for the last month. Our reporting is stable because it's quite simple, we can say. We did not have any request to change the reporting for the last year. Of course, sometimes we have requests for some special data analysis, but we make this in ad hoc form reporting. So that's it.
And I understand that you are using SQL query to extract the data. So that SQL query, it was written by you, or who helped you with that?
This query I write it and we use it. That are 2 queries, one for getting loading data to Blue Prism, and the second query is to get processing data. It means processing results. And these 2 data are imported to Excel worksheet, where I have prepared some form for trends for transformation data to be able to present in report form.
All right, so I don't see, I see here a question. How do you present saved FTEs? Do you count 8 saved hours a day by robot as an equivalent of 1 FTE?
No, maybe I switch back to this screen. As I said, we calculate statistic saved man days as 8 hours, as was said. But when we wanted to calculate real saved time in day by robotic processing, we calculated also saved FTEs as saved man days divided by number of working days in months. That means, for instance, this month has 21 working days. And when we divided saved man days by 21, you can get average saved FTE per 1 day. When you sum these saved FTEs, you can get the total average saved capabilities by robot processing.
Yeah, there are questions pouring into our question bar. As I said at the beginning, we will definitely answer all those questions, guys. But we need to jump to the next presentation. So no worries, ask your question as the time goes. And as I said at the beginning, we will collect all the questions and provide the answers and send it and distribute it to every attendee of this webinar. So thank you very much, Honzo, for the presentation. Now I will make myself the presenter. And so that was Honza Czech and how they do reporting at Volkswagen Financial Services. And the next story from the client is going to be presented by Jirka Hlučil, how they do reporting at Sberbank. So we are going to hear what's going on in reporting at Sberbank. So Jirko, I am going to make you a presenter. Okay, we can see your desktop. Very good. We cannot hear you, so maybe Jirko, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, of course. So good morning, and good morning to everybody. And Zdeněk, can you confirm me that the presentation is?
Yeah, I can see the PowerPoint and we can hear you. Yep.
Okay. Glad to be here. So
maybe you want to switch to the presentation mode because we see the PowerPoint with all the slides. So I'm not sure whether you have the presentation on the other monitor.
So another screen, okay, screen monitor 3. And now it is good.
That's the right one. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No worries.
So we can start. Let me introduce myself. I'm a banking operations process manager responsible with my colleague Thomas for the robotic process automation program in Sberbank Czech Republic. We are both RPA developers, but as you know, automation delivery and operations needs to be managed. So we are actually in both positions, managers and developers. It's also important for me to introduce you quickly Sberbank Czech Republic. We are a small bank focusing on retail, small, medium, and large corporate clients in Czech Republic. We operate 24 branches and have over 750 employees who take care about 120,000 clients. We started our RPA journey at the end of 2016. At this time, customer demand for cash loans exceeded the back office capacity. Instead of hiring and training new employees, it was decided to implement robotic process automation with help of NEOOPS. So RPA started in Sberbank as a tactical initiative and started in the loan back office. We still remain specialists for back office operations, for back office automation. You should maybe ask why. Bank have made, of course, during that time, during the 4 years, a shift towards digitizing of the customer-facing front office operations, but not all. For example, agendas related to changes in services or their settings still rely more on people and paper. And not all customer services are digitalized fully. That's why back office is still full of manual processes, not so much as it was, but still. And RPA proved in last 3 years that it can help speed up this manually intensive back office processes, cut cost, and eliminate errors. What I add, what we as a core team have learned during that period is that success with automation is achieved rather with systematic approach, with focus on roles and people as much as technology. So I mean invest in people and new ways of working. It's also important to have a C-level executive support for the program. And last but not least, have defined clear strategic objectives for automation and understand both the costs and benefits of automations, which brings me to today's topic. So, yes, more sophisticated tools will certainly be presented here today. How create reports using QData from the Blue Prism database. But if you are looking for a tool that does not require much effort to set up, then you can use Q reporting solution provided by Blue Prism, covering items, workit, exceptions, queue performance, etc. The solution use Blue Prism object to pull queue data from Blue Prism database into a predefined spreadsheet template file, which looks, as you see, quite professional. All assets, so process, object, release notes, are available on a Blue Prism portal. There are two kinds of reports available. The performance report, as you see now on screen, shows how queue items has been worked, including daily subtotals, case time averages, number of exceptions by type, and completion rates, and provide an sufficient understanding of how well or bad a process has been functioning in the given period, last week, last month, last. A report template has a fixed structure, is hard-coded into the object, and its structure should not be changed except of logo, what can be perceived as a disadvantage. Report assumes tags have been used to indicate exception type. Any exception item that has not been tagged will be classed using the configured default type, probably a system exception. All used exception types need to be classified either as system exception or business exception within the config page of the object. More than one queue can be in the same report, what is useful for multi-queue solutions, what we use. The second is queue report. It is a simple list of items and could be used as a way to send exceptions to business for manual investigation during the day. Unlike the performance report, the queue report is intended to be modified. The document release notes provides a more detailed description how to do it. What I want to show you next is how the data from the queue report and from the performance report can be used to make own reports. We use data from performance reports for creation operational monthly reporting, as you see on screen. It is only a part of it. What is monitored from our side are the situations when the bot pass work back to an employee. These are, on the other hand, all cases that should have been completed but somehow did not due to some technical problems. I speak, of course, about system exception rate. We consider the failure rate up to 5% to be satisfactory. Otherwise, it's necessary to work with business to improve process performance. On the other hand, are here cases that has been rejected by process design based on business process rules and logic, so a business exception. The details to them can be found in the performance report, as you saw 2 slides before. To sum it up, in operation monthly reporting, we see exception trends and the reasons behind them, and Blue Prism performance report is source for it. Let's talk finally about benefits that are reported. These are reported to the management. These are numbers of inputs processed by bots and hours saved to business. However, we see several other benefits which are harder to measure, of which we value the most greater operational flexibility and improved services to front office and our customers. That's all from my side. Zdeněk.
Thank you very much, Jirko. That was really interesting view, and thank you for the presentation, because this shows the way for the clients who have not started yet to do the reporting, how they can actually launch very easy using Blue Prism functionality, Blue Prism VBO, how they can start reporting almost immediately, you know. So that's why I really like this presentation, because it shows very simplistic approach yet effective to provide the numbers and to present the numbers to management or to the business. I would have one more question for you, Jirko, and that is, if you go one slide back, I am really impressed by these figures, because what I see that your exception rate is really low. You know, that's really impressive. I assume these are the real numbers. So you are achieving like 100% success rate in your processes. Is my understanding correct?
Yes, the figures are it is not are reality. So yes, the exception rate about one or failure rate about 1% is something what can be achieved. Maybe we are a bit it's some I'm sorry, yes, it is reality.
So either you are lucky and your systems are stable, or you develop high quality processes which can handle a lot of situations. So very nice, very nice.
Yeah, and it is also that we repeatedly check these reports and see what is behind and investigate the exception, and so we invest the time to the performance, to the good performance of the processes.
Okay, so thank you, Jirko, for your interesting presentation. And let me just, okay, what am I doing here? I need to, okay, so now we are coming to the next client story. That's story number 3, and the presenter will be Jana Jarošová from Siemens Global Business Services. So Yani, I am going to make you a presenter.
Okay, let's see. How does it look?
Yeah, we can see your standard PowerPoint, not the presentation like the presenting mode. So not sure whether this is okay. Now we can see the
yeah, and you don't see the webinar technical thing, right?
No,
you see the presentation.
We see
Perfect.
the presentation and we can hear you. Yep.
Perfect, excellent. So thank you for inviting me. My name is Jana Jarošová. As Zdeněk said, I'm working for Siemens Shared Services. I will be presenting a little bit more global view on the reporting and RPA solution that we have at the moment. Basically, our setup in Siemens is that we have 3 delivery centers with some satellites working on joint automation with standard centralized tracking, and we also have a control room operations which is based in Portugal, and colleagues in Portugal are responsible for day-to-day monitoring of robot runs, and also there are those who are maintaining and managing our database. So it's a really global setup. We, as I said, have 3 locations, main locations, one in Prague, one in India, and one in Brazil. And all of us are working towards one basically automation goal given by Siemens GBS management. We started, as was mentioned by previous presenters, also in 2016 with few POCs in 2017 also supported by NEOOPS. These cases were really like testing the waters, mainly trying to utilize the solution for the processes in accounting area. Bank statement upload was one of our first cases that we have built in with Blue Prism. Currently, we are using 40 Blue Prism licenses on 160 virtual machines. But as I said, we have 3 locations and several satellites, which are like small development locations in Turkey, Spain, Slovakia. So that's why it's a little bit bigger than presented by colleagues. In the 4 years, we developed almost 500 processes. These processes vary very much in size and also in the focus area. Of course, the majority of them are in some kind of finance and procurement area, as these are the most manual and data-heavy processes, but we have also few processes for our HR colleagues, etc., etc. So it's like huge variety. What do we track? Our reporting is based at the moment in Tableau, and we have 2 focus areas. One is reporting on our demand. That means how many cases we have running, how many hours automated we were able to get out of these cases when these cases went live, and also the status of the demand that it's not yet being developed. And on the other hand, we have the reporting on the runs, so success rate and termination rate of the actual robotic run out of the control room reports. And these 2 we have for our internal management access. For the customers, we have only like a small peek into the runs that they can see whether their processes are running or not, and how does it look like. Towards our KPI hours automated, I noticed that most of the companies are reporting this on FTE based. That is partially also true for our setup. However, we are working in a collaboration mode with our business lines, and business lines are, let's say, our sales partners towards the end customer. It's a little bit tricky setup. It's all in-house, it's all Siemens, but we as ODS, which is our org code, are then, for example, collaborating with the P2P business line, and they are then identifying customers within their reach and bringing them towards us. So these business lines do report FTEs for their management, but we only report the hours automated, and these hours automated we get from the business, and it's only the pure calculation of the minutes spent on the actual process multiplied by the iterations, so how many times it runs per year, and that gives us the reporting KPI on hours automated. So very, very simple one. How do we get the data? So our Blue Prism database is stored on our Eagle data center. Is super secure underground location in Germany, and we are making the copy of the SQL database from the production with 1 month worth of data. Of course, it's a little bit tricky because we need to be sure that the naming convention of the processes is kept. Otherwise, we are a little bit lost. So our biggest struggle in the beginning was to keep the naming convention of all the processes and queue items, etc. So that was something that we needed to establish from the beginning. And then, as you can see on the right, we created a special view of the database specifically for the reporting, so not all the columns are being visible there. So then we basically take these data and visualize them in Tableau, which you will see in a moment. For the future, we are also thinking about using Amazon Cloud, but it's something not yet there, and we are still, deciding pros and cons of this solution. As to the actual reports, I will be showing you the real live data in Tableau. So please, Denku, tell me if you can see the Tableau view.
Yes, I can see it. Yep.
So let's hope that everyone can. So this is just very simplistic view of our results in fiscal year 2020. So you can see that I didn't lie. There is only the hours automated view visible, no FTs, no saving in financial values, pure simple hours achieved by automation. We do check how many change requests were also automated towards the whole automation potential, because we do receive some of the requests from the customers, either of like scaling the solution, or there is a lot of changes in technologies being used within the teams, so that's also one of the aspects. As I said, we have 3 locations, so all these 3 locations are somehow contributing with the numbers, depends on which use case and which customer is basically available at that location. Sometimes it's biggest in India, sometimes it's biggest for Czech, sometimes for Brazil. It really depends on who gets the biggest process at that quarter, let's say. So that's for the top management, let's say, reporting to know how we perform as a productivity. And then we have also, as I mentioned, the view on where our demand lies, what is the let's say status of the demand. You can see that we have something called completed and approved demand. That means that these are either already in production or in development. Then we have some demands that are being screened by the architects, meaning basically checking all the technical aspects and creating the solution design document. And then there are some which are in the lower stages. You can also see this like weird number, which is our ServiceNow tracking number. We are using ServiceNow for basically tracking the whole life cycle from creation, the draft of the demand, till the project is being completed. And also we track the incidents in ServiceNow. So we basically onboarded the whole solution to one platform. And there are 2 views to the demand one. There is also the split that shows per quarter. My mouse will work. Yes, exactly. What is the ratio of per quarter approved, unscreened ideas, cancelled, declined, in pipeline and in development? So that's for the demand tracking. And then we are tracking, as I said, I hope the unexpected error doesn't mean that we will have some issues there. We are tracking the reports. Let's refresh it. Out of the database, as I showed you, the eGood Live Blue Prism data. So we are tracking the performance, which is this report is mainly used by the hub leads, tracking how the basically use cases. You can see that this is the internal tracking number always there, how they're performing, and by clicking on each one of those objects, you will get also the information in time. So how does the performance looks within the time, and also what was the error. And that's something that I mentioned, the naming convention. We also had to really work on standardizing how we will describe the errors. So that's one of the reports. You can see also within the time that this is the issue here. Others were completed with some issues. So this is like performance reporting. You can also choose which hub, who is the developer, which IPA. If you are not choosing from this colorful scheme, you can of course search by your interest in the filters. Then we have other view that is basically a little bit the same, but more for checking if there was a successful session, and out of this session, how successful was the queue line's completion. So then you can, of course, again filter either for what is in your interest, what is the time frame, or you can also filter for the percentage that you are looking at. And basically we use this as well for checking which cases we should pay more attention to, if there is a need to involve maintenance team to basically check, because worst scenario is this one where you think that yeah, fine, session was 100% success, but why was only 58 or 52% completed? And then we do the detail analysis, or okay, so there was a business exception, 54 items out of 100 were business exception, and then we go and talk to the business, hey, like 50% of business exception is not really like something stellar, so can we work on it? So we improve the performance of the robot, or think about the different logic how to handle these cases. This one, the same example, 125 business exception out of 372 loaded items. So that's something we are using to improve our overall performance. Then we have detailed view on the errors. So if maintenance or the hub leads are more interested also to know what is exactly the reason why the process is failing, then there is a detailed view on that. And then we have also something called queue status. And this is something that is mainly used by our architects. And they are then checking and evaluating the ratio between the business exceptions, system exceptions, and completed items. So if they see there is somewhere really high volume of system and business exceptions, this is some kind of a trigger or a warning for us to go in and basically again do the performance review. And that is all I wanted to show you today. So now if you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Jana, for this. There are questions, even though we are running a bit of time. I would definitely ask you two questions which came from the audience, because I find them very interesting. So how long did it take you to initially set up all of this, and how much effort is it to maintain the reports to stay current?
So we have a team in India, that I didn't mention it, sorry, that is like they are experts, Tableau experts. They are not doing anything else, just creating the Tableau reports for all the customers, and we are using them to create also our Tableau. So I don't know how the guys are experienced in creating the Tableau reports, but it's not that difficult if you have the SQL database available, which we have. So then it was really kind of fast to set it up. The biggest challenge was to get the feedback from our stakeholders. So we also involved the business line representatives to provide the feedback on what they would like to see, and also from the architects and developers, what would help them to improve their work if they have the access to the data. So more the stabilization was a little bit longer to get basically to where we are at. And the second part was how
much effort is it to maintain it updated? You know, like if again, it relates, I believe, to the question Are there any changes in the reporting?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. So this, what we have, as I said, was a result of a discussion with the business lines and all the stakeholders. So this is basically what we have for quite some time already in this exact setup. So we reached the conclusion that this is what we need, this is what we want, and this is the representation that it's best working for us. So we are not really doing many changes in this in these views. No.
All right. So this is very, very good. The last answer, because we are really running out of time, is it was not clear whether this data which you displayed are like live data, or whether it's like that one month
delay.
snapshot.
No. It's one day delay. You can see that there is the 24th of November as a date that I can get. So we are always getting 1 day delay on getting the data. During the night, the refresh is being done, and then the next day you are ready to review.
All right. Thank you very much, Jana. So to the audience, this was a different type of client, having many licenses, having 3 center of excellence locations. It's just different size. So we wanted to include this type of client, because in our client base we have different portfolio of clients, having from 1 to up to those 40 licenses, so that you can see the variations, how the reporting can be done. And we are coming to the last client story, and that will be presented by Dominik Svida, and that's will be covering how the reporting is done at AXA UNIQA organization. So I am going to give the presenter role to Dominik.
Very good, Zdeněk. Thank you. Thank you for transferring to us. I will start the presentation, and Dominik will join later on. First of all, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to share knowledge about this particular area, because each company is taking its own approach, developed in-house, and this is a wonderful opportunity to see how others are doing this, and how we can learn from this. So great job. A very short introduction of myself. I'm Antonín Schenfeld, leading the Robotic and Process Excellence Center at AXA, now UNIQA. So it's quite a funny situation. I will explain. And I come from originally from internal audit and risk management area, and I switched to RPA like 2 years ago. So in some aspects, new area, but overall it's about processes. So very shortly about AXA and consequently UNIQA. You can see both names because AXA in the Czech Republic, Slovak Republic, and Poland has been acquired by UNIQA this year. So we will be very shortly rebranded, and you will see just one name. We are insurance company, life, non-life, pension, investments. So overall company specialized in financial services. We are currently 3 in the team, having Dominik as a full-time developer, Martina part-time developer, and half of this is for process discovery and PDD preparation. And myself, apart from the coordinating activities, I'm responsible for bot controlling. We started in the middle of 2018, having POC with Accenture, starting with one evaluating license. Later on in 1 year, the POC was finished successfully. We transferred into BAU. So we formed the team of 2 and now 3 people. During this time, we ramp up the activity from 1 license to 3, currently having 19 automated processes, which represent 8 bots in operation. So one bot can have several versions of the process. And we are naming each of the bots by human names to be attractive to their human collaborators. Running currently for VDIs and providing roughly business benefit of 8 FTEs. So these are the basic metrics, and now we can jump on RPA reporting. The first idea originated very shortly after transfer into BAU, when the number of transactions began to rise, and also the people who sponsored the original POC project, they wanted to show the results and be sure that this is some ROI activity. So at the beginning of the project, which was run internally, purely internally, we identified 3 principal target groups for the reporting. First were SMEs, our bot owners, then top management, and then it was us, RPA team, interested in like more detail, more about daily runs, more about exceptions. We could see what are the capabilities embedded in Blue Prism, and we ended up with quite a bit of dissatisfaction, and we were looking for some solution with low maintenance cost, updated daily, having some nice graphical interface that would be dynamic. Also, we wanted to have direct access for the reporting group, because it's not so sexy to produce each month a report, put it into email, and to send it to someone. So we wanted to have something with direct access, but still while ensuring all the confidentiality of the presented information. So all the project went, you can see, almost 1 year. It's not a full-time effort, of course. It was a part-time effort when we were automating the other processes, and it was especially Dominik's task to put the definition into daily life. So our RPA reporting is live since let's say May this year. Okay. In the next slide, we have like several elements. We have some umbrella element, like for measures, count of executed items, exceptions, and the success rate. This is something that we report to all groups. And then we have separate metrics for RPA team, SMEs, which are interested more to time back to business, and for top management, which needs to have a global overview also on the metric of FTEs. To the metrics definition, the source of information is Blue Prism database. And we are only taking the last try of an item in a queue as the final status for the reporting. There was also some discussion about FTE basis definition, which could be quite tricky. In our terms, we are taking like not the full working year. We are subtracting holidays, sick days, trainings, and so on, arriving at 14 days, and we are counting just 7 hours a day, giving us this amount of minutes per year. What is important input into the reporting is average HHT, average handling time, which is the time that would take a human worker to perform the process. And on the basis of this, we are evaluating and calculating the time returned to business. So that's an introduction, very general. And now we will jump to the real demonstration. And I will now pass my word to Dominic, who will show you how the reporting looks like.
Okay, thank you, Antonin, for introduction, and hello to everyone. I hope you hear me well. My name is Dominic Svida, and I am robotic and technology developer in AXA. And also one of my responsibilities is RPA reporting, which I'd like to talk about today. So far, you know the metrics we use, the reason why we report the data, and how we calculate the metrics. And in this part of session, I would like to show you how we report this data back to stakeholders. We really wanted to introduce you the RPA dashboard live in action, but unfortunately there are some security issues and we are not able to share our environment with you. But we prepared a video, which I will show you in a quick moment, and I will comment it for you. Just let me know you see it correctly. Okay, so now we should be at the beginning of the video.
You can see it.
Anthony, can you confirm that?
We can see it.
Okay, great. So this is the RPA dashboard, and it's separated into 4 separated sheets. Each one of them is designed for different type of group users. And in this video, we are going to see each one of them. The first one is RPA dashboard, designed for top management. And now I play the video. For better controlling of the report, we can use 3 different type of filters. The first one is robotic process in production, where we can see a lot of robots. The second one is the department when the robot runs. And the last one is reporting period divided by years, quarters, and months. On the left side, we have informations about how many items were processed by robots, also the count of success or count of the exceptions if there were any. Also, we can see the success rate in total of all robots. There is also information about the robotic process in operation, and we can see also the information about man days and hours saved back to business. On the right side, we have the pie chart representing the count of robotic process per each department. And in the middle, we have the column chart, which represents the total saving of man days and hours and delivered back to business in quarters. Of course, we can use the drill down functionality to see the another level of time dimension, and we can use the roll up also for see the savings per year. Next, we have the chart which represents FTE back to business, and the data showed in the dashboard are fully dynamic. For example, if we choose the document and digitalization department, we can see the results are redesigned and recalculated. Also at the bottom, we have the table, which represents some basic information about the processes. And as a robot name, what is the robot nickname when the robot was put into production? What is the average handling time of human and average handling time by robot? We can also see the success rate for each robot. So this is the top management RPA dashboard. And now let's move to the next one. The next one is designed for business managers and SMEs. For the first sign, it might be similar with the previous one, but we can find some differences here. Also, we implemented something what is called row level security, which in practice means that the user, for example, from commission, is only allowed to see the data from his department and not some from any other. Also, we can use the slicer to change the data period we want to see. For example, only for 2020. And we can see also the time back to business divided by quarters. And because the commissions has 6 robots in production in total, we can see the productivity of each robot on the right side in the chart. Also, we can see the item proceed by month by all the robots in commissions department. Okay, so let's move to the next one. This is the RPA dashboard for business owners and SME as well. For the first time, it might remind you the control room from Blue Prism, and you're right, but business experts, business owners, and subject matter experts doesn't have permissions to control room, but there might be situations where they need the information about work UI on the lowest level. So for this purpose, we created this report where we can find information about item ID, when the item was loaded, when it was completed, how many time it took to complete the task, and the final status, if the status is success or if there were any exceptions. Also, if we find any exceptions, we can use the filter and see the exceptions reason. Also, this report can be exported to the simple file such as Excel and simple CSV. The last dashboard we have is designed for robotic team, where we can see the number of running robots in process, the success rate per robot, and the balance between exceptions category. Also, we have the work use snapshots and utilization ratio per each process or per each runtime. So this is the RPA dashboard. It was created in Power BI, business intelligence tool from Microsoft. It is deployed on reporting server, and everyone who has an access can reach this report. We can open it from any web browser. Currently, we are using Google Chrome, but the others work well. These results in the report are updated daily. So now let's move back to presentation.
Thank you, Dominic, for the very nice demonstration of the dashboard. Even we had some difficulties, so I hope we were able to show you. And still, this is your slide. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Antonin. So what you just saw was the RPA dashboard, but the RPA dashboard is not a full RPA reporting, because RPA reporting is something more robust and complex. And here in AXA, we build it on 4 different layers, which the first one is the business metrics definition. It's the place we gather all information from business and put it into one place. We're using the SQL database we created. And the second layer is the transaction model. And in this layer, we connect the business metrics definition with work queue and work queue items from Blue Prism. The third one is tabular model based on multidimensional cube. And this is the place where we store all the results from previous layer. And the last one is RPA dashboard, which you just saw on the demo. Okay, this is everything from me. Thank you for your time. And now words back to Antonin.
To wrap up what we have just presented, what were the topics and maybe some lessons learned? FTE calculation can be tricky. We spent some time on it, and it's not easy to assign appropriate numbers to the basis of FTEs, and also for the aggregations. So that could be for another discussion. Also, what was important for us and contributed to the success was that the needs of the target groups were aligned with what we finally produced. We recommend to run it as a separate project with some adequate resources and people with reporting tool competence on board. Do not use tools like Excel, because you will very shortly run into performance issues. We have also some additional reports, because this is offline report representing the previous day. In Excel, we produce several operational reports, like one of the most useful is for the process control, to see what were the missed schedules in the past hour, in order to get them back on board. Probably what is today not in the dashboard and could be part of this are two things. First, in some cases we have direct financial benefits that are not directly derived from the, let's say, time that the bot works. That could be one additional way of enriching it. And the second is probably at some point of maturity to add some forecasting, because we are all dealing with the number of licenses, and we need to know if we will in a short time, if this will be enough. So some forecasting ability might be useful to put into the reporting. You could see that we have, in some months, we have quite big peaks, and consequently that could be a question of the management, why this happened. Is it higher number of items, or is it longer duration, etc. So thank you very much for your attention, and we are ready to answer your questions.
Yeah, there are several questions, but as we are really behind our schedule, we will answer them offline. As I said, we will compile all of the questions in a document and send it out. Thank you again to Dominic and Tonda for your presentation.